So I spent 3 hours this morning meditating. And I can tell you that when you spend that much time meditating and you are an experienced meditator, that you get some good results. And the thing that what I, what I want to point out about that is that I think it's really important in the time that we're in right now to have such a practice and to be able to reap those benefits because and I'll go into the benefits, but what I'm observing is that our world is continuing to get more complex and more stimulating, more noisy, more confusing, more stressful, and that's very, very taxing on the human nervous system because it's highly stimulating to the human mind. Um, I've been wrestling with this. I think I have a specific kind of nervous system and brain that can be quite susceptible to this, to overstimulation. My mind and nervous system are very sensitive. So taking in a lot of data and spinning it up and spinning it into all sorts of areas, directions, parallel realities. And, that whether that's like an abreaction from trauma or childhood vaccines or whatever it is, I don't know. But I was diagnosed as having ADHD as a kid, and I've had difficulty just living a normal life because of my brain and nervous system. I've had autoimmune issues that I believe is actually psychosomatic, and like clearly, maybe maybe everything is psychosomatic, but it's easy to see how autoimmunity is psychosomatic. So in the meditation that I've been doing recently, I've been doing something different other than my qigong meditation practice. And I think this is a further evolution for me to a kind of non-duality Advaita Vedanta technique or approach, which is a no technique approach. It's just purely witnessing, observing, noticing. So there's no doing. There's there's an intention of non-doing, and that kind of goes contradictory to how modern humans function, especially in this day and age where we're doing more than we should be doing. We don't know how to stop doing, and we don't have to because there's always some kind of stimulation. There's not even a moment of boredom because as you see people walking down the street and they're doing something on their phone, they're driving in a car and looking at their phone. They're even when they should be focusing and paying attention to one thing, they're multitasking. It's like hungry and desperate for something that's never really being achieved. And so I believe it almost any type of meditation is gonna help with that. Um, but specifically this meditation of no thoughts, no doing, just being, and that's not going to be particularly easy for a lot of people. But what I'm suggesting, I'm wanting to offer some suggestion and thinking about it this way. So when people have been trying to reestablish coral reefs, it's like once the reef dies, then all the other life dies. Like there there needs to be this kind of framework for life to grow on. And so they do things like sink ships because it creates this place for the life to begin on. And it's like starts with anemones and different things that then build up this ecosystem. And in various spiritual practices, this is evident too. So there's, you go in a church and there's the high ceilings that give you a certain feeling. There's the music. There's all sorts of different things that kind of guide us and lead us in a certain direction. Those things, however, can also be distractions, and they can, um, especially if the goal is this one of no thoughts and pure being, then it's how do you guide someone to that? And this is really the crux of what I've been contemplating. How even guide myself, shifting gears from being in this world of thoughts and things, and then guide myself to no thoughts. And I think I'm quite proficient at it because of years of practice. I know how to cause my mind to become still, and without technique necessarily. It's like I have a toolbox of things, but I also don't entirely need them. Sometimes I utilize different things, and sometimes I will just I will just sit, or I'll just feel my body. I'll just notice my breath. I mean, those are part of the toolbox. But um, what what I did this morning and what I've been doing recently is listening to these YouTube, um, this specific channel that's really good, um, of it's not specifically, it's essentially like a dharma talk, where but presented in this very meditative way. And it's simple statements with a lot of spaciousness and very subtle music in the background. And I'm really enjoying it, and find that it is making the process very easy because, for example, it'll give a statement, and I want to make another video where I have some examples of the statements, because I haven't memorized them, and I'm not trying to memorize them while I'm listening. I'm essentially using them as guidance, but also what happens is when I'm really doing what the guidance is saying, then that guidance fades into the background. So it's almost like a kind of training wheels, and when you see a kid that's on a bike and they got training wheels, the training wheels are not always touching the ground. It's like when they're balanced, the wheels are not touching the ground. It's only when they go to from side to side that those training wheels kind of save them. Um, so that's how this works. It's like it's giving you this gentle guidance in in the direction of no thought, of recognizing yourself. So Nisargadatta Maharaj, he uses this, I am statement, but in that he describes, like, so you're focusing on the thought feeling of I am, but ultimately then you lose that I am. Then that's kind of a covering of the true self. So you use the I am to still the mind, and you're not even using the words I am, you're feeling I am. I don't know, he explains it better than I can at this point. Um, but it works for me. Like listening to this, it 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 also it doesn't just get me there, it keeps me there, because as thoughts come up, and they do, and I my awareness is kind of spun out of that center to a more shallow place. That's not even, that's, I don't know if that's appropriate terminology or whatever, but that's my feeling of it, where I'm coming back to consensus reality or ego or false self, um, just the identity, then there's that guidance again. So then it's guiding me back. You know, there's just these brief statements um, that are again like if the finger pointing at the moon, guiding me back into that place. And especially it's I just find it very effective in being able to have this like prolonged session. And what happens is when you're doing that for a prolonged period of time, it becomes easier and easier to stay in that deep, still place. There's like an entrainment that happens. I remember one of my qigong teachers saying, if you want to boil some water and you put a pot on the stove with water in it and you turn the heat on, but then you turn it off and then you turn it on and then you turn it off, turn it on, it's never going to boil. You have to keep the heat on for enough time to bring it to a boil. And that's something that I absolutely know to be true after years of practice and and periods of practice where I'm only meditating for 20 minutes or I'm not meditating every day. Um, when we start like stacking it, where we're stacking all of these things that benefit the practice. So doing it every day, doing it for longer periods, removing some of the things from our life habits that detract from that. There's a number of things. So once we start stacking all these practices, the benefits really become evident. And I'm certain that this is not just a nice thing to do. It's not just a healthy thing to do. I believe it's going to become a necessity for surviving our world in this transition that we're going through, where I think some people will lose their minds if they're stuck in that the old paradigm of the way that humans have been, which is this very kind of rigid ego identity. The world is a certain way, this materialistic reality where thoughts and imagination are discounted, of not having the way that they actually do, not understanding this kind of quantum soup that we live in, that we are. There's this whole field of noetics and quantum science that are kind of merging, and and AI thrown into the mix is going to really accelerate things in a way that we can barely imagine. And that's the thing, is much of this transcends our consensus reality and what has been normal and real to us. All of our institutions, all of our systems are going to are being seriously undermined. And unless we um it doesn't, it's kind of secondary, the physical survival stuff. If your mind is dysfunctional, troubled, fractured, it doesn't matter if you have food and shelter. You're gonna do crazy things. You're gonna sabotage yourself. And also, um, we can see something like Viktor Frankl, man's quest for meaning. I think that's right. Man's search for meaning. Um, if you have the right mindset, if you have a strong, resilient worldview and psyche, you can survive horrors. You can survive worst case scenario. So this is really like something that any kind of, I mean, every single person, if they want to be alive, if they want to survive, and not only survive, but have a good time, I mean, it's not even so much about having a good time. It's because it transcends pain and pleasure. This this kind of non-duality um, philosophy and approach. It's it transcends pain and pleasure, and that's why it gives one a resilience to thread this needle that we're we're trying to do. And I think that, I mean, I feel like I've been preparing for this for a long time. I've been exposing myself to all sorts of weird things for a long time. And it's been hard on the psyche. It's not been easy. And I'm seeing this happening um in real time now with a lot of people coming across some horrific information that's being kind of exposed. And the thing is, I've been aware of a lot of that stuff for decades now. I mean, I was reading David Icke in the early 90s and delving into all sorts of like dark stuff, like horrific things. Not that I enjoyed that, but it's like I think it's again, it's part of my temperament is to be curious and explore, and especially some of the more controversial things. I have this affinity for the darkness. And again, not that I want to revel in it, but it's like an embracing of what is. I feel I have this like non-dual kind of consciousness that understands that there is a higher order that transcends the duality. Again, it's hard to describe. It's hard to describe. It goes beyond our ability to translate thoughts into words. But anyways, um, I will link in the video description some of the um, YouTube videos that I have used, and this channel is really got a lot of great videos. She even has like a Google Drive folder where you can download all the videos. It's such a treasure, such a treasure that these teachings have been recorded. Well, so the originator, right, was able to convey these things from this non-dual perspective. Their years of training and practice and luck that resulting in enlightenment. Then their willingness and ability to convey it into words. And then those words were translated into English. And then now they're they're shared in a way that you don't have to pay for, that's paced like skillfully paced to listen to with this music. So it's just it amazes me how this has how what a gift it is that this kind of thing is available now for people to use to access such a valuable, I want to say teaching, but it's it's a pathway. It's a facilitated experience. It couldn't be any easier than if that teacher was like beside you. Anyways, um, I'll wrap it up here. I guess I just want to punctuate this with like my so I am feeling the benefits. I am feeling the result of this, um, because that's it stays with you, right? It does ripple through. It's in some ways it as I've experienced in the past, meditation and spiritual practice can make things worse, and I think that's part of it, especially if you're kind of intermittent with it and not as um, disciplined as you need to be. And maybe some people need to be more. I know I need to be very disciplined. I need to be very regular with it because if I do some of it, it opens up things. And so then I need to carry on with that practice to then deal with what it's then opened up. Right. So it kind of, you got to keep, and I think that just says a lot about me and what's important for my life and but I think that it can benefit everyone. I don't think everyone will necessarily have the same kind of results that I get as far as the cathartic ones. I don't know, but I do think overall it's gonna be tremendously beneficial for people. I think the thing is if people aren't suffering enough, and that sounds harsh, but if people aren't suffering enough, then they're not going to be motivated enough to have to have the discipline or the willingness to sacrifice the world of illusion. Right? That's the thing. That's if samsara is working for you enough, then you're not going to be shaken out of it. You're not going to and some people seem to have this incredible pain threshold. Like when I see this is something that puzzles me. When I see people that are so down and out and in such bad shape, homeless people, addicts, lying on the street, like just in really miserable state. Um, I mean, I get that it's once you're there, it's really hard to have the ability to pull yourself out of it, and that's upsetting to me that and who can help them. I don't I don't know what I could do um, for somebody like that. I think sadly I think it's just that this life of theirs is a life of hell, and maybe next time around, like I think I've had some hellish lives, you know. Not that we should give up on people. I'm gonna go talk to city council about what I think they should do. But anyways, it's all it's all part of our karma, and that's what I take from it. So when I'm practicing a lot of meditation and then afterwards I'm feeling pain, I'm feeling all these emotions, I'm feeling um stuff, it's like it's because of that karmic cleansing that's occurring. And maybe not everybody has the same amount of karma as I do. Like regardless, you're gonna have to face that karma at some point. So why not do it now? Because now is the time. If you're exposed to the teaching, if it comes up in your experience, if you're watching this video, now's the time. Now really is the time. Like this is the crunch time. And as I say, I think this is the reef building sunken ship that we can build on. And so, yeah, I'm I'm wanting to share what is working for me. Namaste.